Hi, we are
for Narbonese Gaul. It took him 8 years to conquer the territory of Gaul. He demonstrated his skills as a strategist and logistical and strategic superiority of the Roman army. The life of Caesar, as well as his writings, are illustrated by Suetonius and the Greek biographer Plutarch.
By 2020, more than 300 French people live in Italy, almost 3%. They are well integrated into society, starting from the childhood and school, and the rate of graduates is also high. Another figure is that of Italian in French, who exceed 270,000. It is a shock figure also because most of these are graduate looking for a future. Most of these are young and come from South Italy. In fact, almost 50% come from Puglia, Calabria, and Sicily.
Now I'm going to talk about Asterix and Obelix. Asterix is a French cartoon created by René Goscinny and Albertelli and published for the first time in 1959. The story describes the adventure of two Gauls warriors, Asterix and Obelix, who fight against the Roman occupation of Gallia at the time of the Emperor Caesar Augustus. Initially, Asterix should have been the main character of the story, but later Guidelso decided to give him a shoulder, Obelix, to highlight their characteristics. The whole story, although based on flawed historical facts, is always hilarious and never cruel. And finally, our motto is comic book.
Thank you very much, guys. Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
About Greek artists in Rome. In Rome, the Hellenization of Rome is as the expansion power the legend of this the winner to the arrival of Greek works in the form of sports war. In this period, the population and above all the nobility and sovereigns began to take an interest in Greek culture and art. It can therefore be said that Greek art provided a cultural contribution to the society of Italy.
Okay. In the choice of Greek works of art, preferences were inspired by fashions. Greek subjects were primarily sought after for fame. Among the novelists of the era, there is the use of framing the works' main sculptors. Signature was placed on the base and was a guarantee of the quality of the work. Copies of sculptures were very frequent, but was put directly on the sculptor. Since it's a very significant production from a quantitative point of view, quality of these sculptures appeared modest, just as the iconographic schemes are guaranteed.
After the years of wars and looting between the 1st and 2nd centuries BC, thanks to the growing demand of private commerce for works of art, artist shops flourished, first in Greece and then also in Italy, and the first museum public will show the works to the people.
Okay. The African community shows its two faces. That pushes them to live, and that of dances flavors beauty that pushes them to return. In fact, many Afghans are driven to leave their country, not so much for hunger, but especially for peace. At the House of Cultures in Torpignatara, in Rome, Afghanistan is a land of departure. In the words of Fawad Routi, author of the book From the Hindu Bush to the Alps, a young Afghan's journey to freedom, and back in the sharing of language, dances and flavors.
Beautiful. Thank you very much, guys.
You have heard about people from Afghanistan to Rome and to Italy, the ancient Eastern Greece. But you also heard about Greek Rhodian sculptures. In Rome there was an almost living snake, and all the streets lead to Rome.
Bye. Bye-bye.
You are now muted.
Good evening. Today we are going to talk about the Spanish population. The Hispanics arrived in Rome in 218 BC when the Romans conquered the Iberian Peninsula. Spain was divided into two parts, the Hispania Citerior and based in Tarragon, and the Hispania Ulterior, which was divided into two parts, Lusitania, based in Merida, and Baetica, based in Cordova. At the beginning, the Hispanics in Rome worked as slaves and traders, and only after the Romanization of the empire, they reached more ambitious jobs. The main cities from which the Hispanics came were Cordova, Barcelona, Cadiz, Malaga, and Tarragona. There was an intense network of trade between Spain and Italy. The main products that were traded were agricultural products, oil, precious metals, fish, and fish-based sauces. The Hispanics didn't have a real religion. In fact, the Christianity arrived in Spain only in the 1st century AD and spread in the 2nd century in the cities and in the 3rd centuries in the countryside.
Okay.
The presence of Hispanics in Rome is certified by several things. The one I will talk about is a reference to Monte Statue, in a text called El Licenciato Vidrera by Miguel de Cervantes. In the text it says, what do you want from me, guys? So stubborn as fleas, dirty as bugs, courageous as fleas. Am I the Monte Statue in Rome that you throw at me sharks and kills? Monte Statue is also known as Monte dei Cocci. It is an artificial hill made of more than 52 million of ampere. The ampere are unloaded from the port, sold, used, and then thrown in one place, which over time has risen to become the Monte that we know today, the Monte Statue. Many ampere were recycled and were placed in the Monte and by officials called curatores. In fact, the work of the Romans was exemplary, and the ampere were weighed from 30 to 1,000 kilos and mostly came from Baetica and Africa.
Then the Hungarian Academy in Rome has been operating in our capital since 1927. Its headquarters is Palazzo Falconieri, and its story started when Vilmos Frapnoi
that was an academic of historical sciences, to further the search for Hungarian sources and documents at the Vatican's incredible rich collection, with his own expense at an Academy of Fine Arts built for Hungarian artists in 1927. The period up to the Second World War can be considered the first golden age of Institute, and dozens of excellent scholars live in its room, and thanks to the activity of art fellows and a new autonomous current in Hungarian painting and sculpture born. This is called Roman School, and now since September of 2009 it has been possible to visit this place, and now the academic can do art galleries or science exhibitional and still organizes meetings.
In the project, I talked about the Edict of Emperor Caracalla, which conferred citizenship on all citizens of the empire, and at the same time, they were all obligated to pay an entrance tax. A peculiarity of this edict is that it has never been found. Connecting to that, I talked about the migrations of the people of the ex-Yugoslavia in Italy. I talked about a girl named Alexandra, who moved from Serbia, moved to Italy with her mother and her brother, where she studies at the University of Rome and where she still fights.
About Spanish community, have you ever heard about a mount made of sharks? Have you ever heard about citizenships for foreign merchants? Romans were really modern, more modern than us.